So in the lovely short that I just made, I explained how the weather is not as it was. And we know it's 62 degrees, but it doesn't feel like 62 degrees. So I want to make a video on how exactly this could happen. Because the temperature is really only based on the movement of air. And while typically it's accurate, I don't want to say it always is. From my personal experience, there's other factors that it relies on. Now, of course, we have feels like for wind chill and heat index, but there's a couple of issues with those. For one, wind chill will only begin if the winds are above 3 miles an hour, and more importantly, the air temperature is below 50 degrees. So if it's a 51 degree day, a wind chill reading will not register. For heat index, you need a dew point above 60 degrees, which also means the air temperature has to be above 60 degrees. And it doesn't really pick up until you get to 79 or 80 degrees. Otherwise, the heat index factor is very small. It can be quite annoying to track all of this. And AccuWeather has a real field calculator. The thing is, though, that it typically stays relatively close to the temperature. And sometimes it could be wildly off. Like the time where it was 19 degrees in the morning, yet AccuWeather said the real field was somehow 26 degrees in the morning. I have no idea how to explain that one. So what happens? Well, there are a few times where I can specifically remember it feeling a lot colder than what the thermometer said. So this is going to be more of a personal experience video with some climatic data mixed in. Like, for example, I want to make a note of January 2nd. This was essentially at the end of a near record warm December here. This is the last day before a cold front would come in that would bring it below average for weeks. Well below average for weeks. And on this day, it got to 59 degrees. It was quite nice. Here's the thing though, in spite of me taking a walk in 50 degrees, I still need to wear a sweatshirt over my long sleeve shirt with pants on, of course, because it was cloudy, it was a little windy, and it was also January. The sun is weak. Now, there were occasional days where I didn't need to do all that, like when I just wore a long sleeve shirt on December 16th and what the hell was that? And regretted it. It was 53 degrees that morning and 61 in the afternoon, so I didn't think I would need it. But I probably should have brought it because it was actually a little cold. Now, from then on out, the next time I would take it off, and I would still have it on for a large part of the day, was February 12th, where it got up to about 60 degrees. Once it got into the upper 50s, I was able to take it off. It was beginning to get a bit hot. So this meant that, interestingly, it was about 7 or 8 degrees warmer when I went to the zoo in February than when I went in April, which is weird. The next time this happened was when I landed in Seattle, where I needed it on when I was in New York because I was in the 20s, but when I got to Seattle and it was 46 degrees, I was able to take it off yet again. Though, throughout the remainder of the trip, it would cool off substantially, and I wouldn't need it again. This is because of a ginormous winter storm that would come on top of us on the 25th of February. So essentially, it started off as being warm, but then the temperature quickly got cold again. Going back to some more personal experience, the coach was canceled watching my performance. So typically they tell you that you should only wear a t-shirt and shorts underneath your uniform because the uniform is heavy, but sometimes you actually do want to wear heavier clothing. And despite wearing a long t-shirt and pants underneath my uniform, I still felt it was too cold. The thing is, it was 55 degrees, but you were on a turf at night, so it gets a lot colder. It's like how on all of our daytime performances where it gets only up to the, where it gets into the 70s, it feels like you're sweltering out there. But this time you felt that you were freezing out there, and it was also raining. So it began to feel more like the 20s than the 50s. This is actually before Nor'easter came over us during Halloween, that I may or may not be making a video out of. Another time where this happened was in June at that Mets game where it might have been 64 degrees. I still needed 3 layers in spite of all that, just because of the wind and the clouds. So when you look at the air temperature, don't take it too literally.